Welcome, everybody, to REWIR. Tonight's theme is going to be balance. And so when we talk about balance, we're talking about an evenness of mind. It's an innate quality. It's always there, but it can be there either by choice or by circumstance. Um, because balance is a habit. It's made through the choices that we make and the ones that we can influence, and also our reactions to them. There's both an emotional quality and there's also an active quality, the active quality being the choices that we make. And so, in philosophical terms, there's a lot of talk about this golden mean, which will be in the right measure. So, did we overreact or did we underreact? Did we over prepare or under prepare? Did we overstudy, understudy, overthink, underthink? There's there's some scales there to that. And those are the in those situations we can control that. We can act more accordingly, or we can choose more preferred options. I think that when it comes to good or bad, which we really try to avoid, is there's preferred and unpreferred. I prefer for my life to be more balanced. I prefer to feel more balanced. I prefer it over unbalanced because when I'm unbalanced, I feel a little less in control. Yes, in control, but my energy and effort might not be used the best. When I'm more balanced, I feel that I'm sharper and more focused. I'm able to engage more purposefully. And so that's where the preferred and unpreferred portion of balance comes from. And we feel that. Not only is it something that we can choose, but it's also a feeling. The feeling of feeling balanced feels a lot more preferred than the feeling of unbalanced. And I think that we can all understand that and feel that and have experienced that ourselves. And just the other day, I have to say, well, even earlier today, with me, I have a tendency to, and I know it. This is my practice. I have the tendency to um, dismiss. I don't know how else to say it. I have a tendency to sometimes respond too quickly to seem dismissive. And in like a fraction of a second after that, I'll realize that, oh my, if I just took a fraction of a second or 1 second more, I could have recognized that, engaged with it differently, and then have possibly a different outcome. But either way, I would have preferred to have felt that feeling than the feeling of feeling dismissive, which was it's an unbalanced feeling. And I know that. So when we approach that, however we approach balance in our life or wherever our training is leading us, when we approach that, we approach it with curiosity and a little bit of playfulness because life can be really serious already, especially if we're trying to balance the scales of our life, which is a tremendous task to even try to contemplate. So, like earlier in my example, it'd be easy to beat myself up and add some storylines or to add on layers that really they they unbalance me more because I'm adding more layers and more feelings and more unpreferred things rather than, okay, that's my practice and I need to stick to it. So when we approach our practice or we approach balance in whatever way that we're looking to be balanced, it's a helpful reminder to approach it with a bit of playfulness and a lot of curiosity and to have some fun with it. Otherwise, it can be serious and heavy and unbalanced and maybe unpreferred. Uh, and that can be a lot more. It's a different approach. So when we talk about how we approach it, we can approach it with some seriousness, with some intention to be exact or precise, or we could approach it with how I like to approach it is let's see. Let's see, or what are the chances? What are the chances I can be balanced or choose balance? Let's see how balanced I can be or feel. Different than I've got to be balanced. I've got to make balanced decisions. Or however that goes with you, or however you approach it. Two different approaches, um, same outcome, really, right? An intention to be more balanced and be more preferred, but they feel very, very different. One's a weight of scales and measures, and one's a feeling of approximation. Uh, that's kind of where I like to approach it, and I would encourage you to do that too, because we can also look at things objectively, right? Let's talk about now. Okay, we're weighing the scales, and we're gonna do our weights and measures, right? Reflection. I like to call that reflection. We're gonna reflect on how it went. One way is to be exact and precise, and the other way is to be an approximation, but to look at them both with a bit without adding the storylines, without adding the comparison adjectives, right? One is, hmm, I didn't handle that so well. Okay, next time I'll recognize it and I'll approach it differently. And the other way would be, I didn't handle that so well. Um, I didn't handle it so well last time either, and I bet I won't handle it so well the next time. And if I don't get this under control, I'm just going to feel even worse than I do. And if I feel worse than I do, then I'm just going to be, I mean, I can't even imagine how it's going to be. And the other day, I was just, and it can just go on forever. And so we've got to step out of that. And how we do that is the same way we approach the breath. We recognize it, we note it, and we return. I recognize what I did. I note it, felt imbalanced, could probably do better. And I return to the moment, and when it appears next, I'll see how it goes. And I'll make another attempt. But if I approach that again with some intention, or some too much stress, or just a let's see it feels better, or what are the chances I can approach that and see it sooner the next time? That's a much preferred approach than being exact. So, um, and it feels better. It explains better. It's something that I would encourage us all, and myself, to keep remembering. I like to share that because it's a practice. It's not something that we're gonna do once and it's solved. I made a balanced decision today, or I feel balanced today, and it will remain that way forever. It just doesn't work. It's a practice. It will happen again, and we'll approach it the same way or a different way, and that's where the beauty and the art of living kind of comes in. So how does it feel to you? How does it reveal itself to you, balance or unbalanced? Is it thought, feelings, or sensations? And when I say feelings, I think of emotions too. Um, the thoughts can be reoccurring. That can be imbalance. That can be your how you recognize some imbalance in your life. It could be an emotion. Just feel bothered. I feel tension. I feel angry. I feel annoyed. Um, that can be a sign. And it could also be a sensation like, oh, I've got this, my neck feels tight. That's another sign too. And there's signposts, right? If we're moving along our life and it's a signpost and we're like, oh, it's just not that clear. We have to be aware to it. There's not going to be a sign to be like, becoming unbalanced, exit now. It's going to be, oh, I'm just feeling a little bit annoyed. It's so subtle. And then somewhere somebody will be, somebody might say to you, are you doing okay? And you're like, oh yeah, I've been on, you feel it somewhere internally, either in your mind, in your body, in your emotions. So how is that revealed to you personally? That's something that we can always look for. And the choice appears, and then we engage in the moment. And that's where our awareness comes in. The ability to engage with life in a balanced way, however that is to us. I know I keep repeating it, but that's the theme. Balance. It's a feeling. It's a choice. So when those moments appear where we can engage in life, we have a choice. a choice that we can control, an action, a reaction, an attitude, approach, or an intention. Do we choose to engage in that moment in a balanced way? And it might sound like it needs more explanation. I think the more we explain it, the more we kind of move away from it because it's a feeling. It's the feeling of lightness or heaviness. It's a feeling of in control or out of control. It's a feeling of balance or imbalance. So that, however you associate with that, and you get the feeling that something's imbalanced in us and we need our attention. And sometimes we don't. So, and that takes courage too. Some things we can't, we have to engage with. Some things are um, need our attention and we have to engage with them. Okay, that's that's life. There are some things that will need our attention and we will have to act on. But that doesn't mean that the next thing after that that gets our attention is equally something we have to act on. And that takes a lot of courage to say no. That takes a lot of courage to 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 say no, I can't do that, or to not take the task, or to not do the thing, or to not engage in that because it would be more unsettling or more unbalancing to do that. And so in those moments, and when you feel tension about saying no, why? Right? Because on that scale, there's the courage to say no, and there's the weakness to give in, or there's the courage to say yes, or and the weakness to engage, or um, the acceptance to say yes, or the resistance to say no. It's all on those scales, but that is the choice that we have. And so this practice is about coming familiar with that sense of balance. So we can recognize it, we can become more familiar with it, and we can see those moments that we can engage in our lives more. And noticing when the body and the mind are out of balance is just as important as noticing when it is in balance. And vice versa. It's just as important to recognize the moments that we do feel balanced than the moments that we don't. And isn't that the case, right? Isn't that true? It's easier we have a tendency to recognize imbalance more than we recognize balance, or we recognize when we're becoming unbalanced versus when the unbalance is now faded and we feel back to normal. So, um, with that said, let's train. So, um, sitting upright, when you're ready, let's begin with some nice deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Then with your next out breath, close the eyes. Feel the weight of the body on the floor. The hands and the arms in the lap. Spine straight. Sitting upright. Take a moment to settle into the different senses. Notice any sounds around you. Just let them pass through you. Notice any smells, Maybe any lingering tastes. Notice the general mood of the mind right now, or the absence of a mood. Let's begin our box breathing. Here we go. Breathe in for a count of 4, hold. Breathe out and hold. Starting now. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Hold, 1, 2, 3. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Last breath. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Back to normal breathing. And let's check in with the body now. There's a sense of balance or imbalance. Scanning from head to toe. Notice any areas that feel balanced or imbalanced, tense or relaxed. Try not to change anything or just noticing. Now take a moment to clarify our intention here for training and how being balanced not only affect ourselves, but our relationships. Let's bring our attention back to the body now. That rising and falling sensation of the breath. And rest our attention on that sensation. Sensation of rising and falling of the chest. Now, I want you to imagine that above your head is a waterfall of liquid sunlight filling our bodies from the bottom up. And with it is this sense of spaciousness, of balance, very light quality. And it's filling up our body like water in a vase, starting with the toes. You can go at your own pace. At the ankles now into the knees. This waterfall of liquid sunlight into the waist, moving higher, bringing with it a sense of spaciousness, lightness, and balance. And if you find that your mind is distracted, rest your attention to that feeling of rise and fall of the breath and the qualities of that liquid sunlight. So it moves higher, filling the body to the chest. Moving now towards the neck, spilling the shoulders and down to the arms. This quality of balance, lightness, spaciousness, as it continues up the neck, moving into the head, filling up the body. And when it's all that liquid sunlight has filled the body, it just overflows like it would a vase, just pouring over, overflowing and filled with that quality of balance, spaciousness, and lightness. When you feel it, that feeling of overflowing, just let the mind be completely free. If it wants to think, let it think. We're not focusing the mind in any way. Just let it do what it wants to do. Coming back to those physical sensations, the feeling of weight, the feeling of the hands in the lab, and gravity, any sounds, any smells. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. You can take a moment to have a stretch if you like. Now, when we go through our days and our days to come, let's carry with us that intention and attention to make balanced decisions, um, and bring into our awareness that familiar sense of balance, whatever that is for you. And when you feel that thought, feeling, sensation of any imbalance, use that as your cue to engage in that moment, however you see fit, and to engage with it in what would be a preferred way or a more balanced way, and see how that goes. So, and to engage purposely with those moments. So, a couple announcements before we go. First, thank you for joining. I appreciate you being here with me. YouTube videos, a couple of our practices from the last few weeks have been posted to YouTube. This one will be posted in 2 days, and yesterday's practice will be posted tomorrow. Feel free to view those as you see and let us know how it goes. And you can always add in the comments what makes you feel unbalanced, more balanced. How do you recognize that that opportunity to engage in your life in a more balanced way? And we'll be back next week. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining, and no pressure, just practice.